Hillary Clinton ran the State Department like a personal hedge fund. It's hard to tell where the Clinton Foundation ends and where the State Department begins.
Neither my husband, my daughter, nor I have ever taken a penny of salary from the foundation. My work as Secretary of State was not influenced by any outside forces.
Hillary Clinton on defense responding to Donald Trump's new focus on links between the foundation and Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. And it's time now for our Sunday group. Syndicated columnist George Will, Fox News political analyst Juan Williams, Susan Page from USA Today, and GOP strategist Karl Rove. Well, I want to start with the remarkable number that the Associated Press came up with this week and that Kellyanne Conway just referred to. During the first half of Clinton's time as Secretary of State, she met with 154 people from private interests, not U.S. or foreign officials. 85 of them, more than half, were donors to the Clinton Foundation who contributed as much as $156 million to the foundation. Karl, I don't have to tell you, money does buy access in this town, so is there anything new here?
Yes, the volume is jaw-dropping. You left out another number, nearly 150 phone calls, phone messages left by the CEO of the Clinton Foundation for Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton's chief of staff. At State. So how many phone calls was she able to receive beyond that? This is in a 2-year period. She left a message every 3 days. Looks like she was constantly in communications. Hillary Clinton says, I know there's a lot of smoke there and there's no fire. Well, there's a lot of fire there. The more we look at this, the more we see favors being traded, people being appointed to boards they shouldn't have been on, people attending meetings that they shouldn't have been at, people being invited to state dinners, people being able to circumvent the normal processes at the State Department in order to get special pleading in front of the Secretary.
Juan, when you see all of the emails from people in the Clinton Foundation to Cheryl Mills to Uma Abedin, these are the people right at the right hand of Hillary Clinton in the State Department. When you see the phone messages, all of that, does it trouble you at the coziness of the relationship?
Oh, yes. It sets off alarms in my mind as a journalist. I mean, even before I knew about the AP report, the phone calls and the like, I mean, the whole structure, Chris, seems to me to invite suspicion, the idea that there's some quid pro quo for access going on. So it's concerning to me. Let me just say in all fairness, I think the foundation does good work, malaria, HIV, and the like. But there's no getting away from the appearance of impropriety here. I'm astounded that this foundation has existed since, in fact, the 1997, during President Clinton's tenure. I don't understand how Mrs. Clinton doesn't see that this would invite people, including the Boston Globe, Ed Rendell, fellow Democrats, to say, this is a problem. You can't do this. She had to sign an agreement with the Obama administration, which she apparently violated, by going about these kind of phone calls, meeting people, even if it's, I don't think there's any evidence of impropriety, just by the standard you set. Lots of people say access is for money in this town. But still, if there is no evidence of illegality, the appearance of trouble abounds.
Let me just quickly pick up with you on Karl, because that is the defense of the Clinton campaign at this point. There's no smoking gun. There's no official act that was done.
There's plenty of smoking guns available. Steve Hayes has a great piece in this week's Weekly Standard on it. Let me just give you one example. The largest donor from Ireland who gave between $10 and $25 million is a guy named Dennis O'Brien. He has the cell phone concession in Haiti. And when the earthquake happens, what happens? He ends up getting USAID grants. He participates in a $10 million grant for the development of mobile banking put together by USAID and the Gates Foundation. Then he starts partnering with USAID on education initiatives. In all the news releases, the amount of money the federal government is putting in is spelled out, but never is it spelled out what is being put in by him. And then Bill Clinton personally intercedes and arranges for the construction of a $45 million luxury hotel owned by him, works it out with Marriott to build the hotel, goes to a World Bank affiliate to get the money, and presides over the dedication ceremony. And he is the largest contributor from Ireland.
Okay, let's switch to, because there was another revelation this week about Clinton and emails, and that's the fact that the FBI had apparently uncovered almost 15,000 new ones that we didn't know about, either from this supposedly wiped clean server or from other people's email accounts. And because of lawsuits, there's going to be a steady release of these emails between now right through Election Day. George, how big a deal is that?
Well, it's a big deal in that it demonstrates redundantly what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. I mean, she has just been all along, her judgment appears worse and worse. Second, because this is all tangled up with the foundation, this really illustrates the Clintons' graspiness. That's a word that the Washington Post used in an editorial 15 years ago when the Clintons absconded with some of the White House furniture. So we've been down this before. The question is this a big deal electorally? I've got my doubts. I'm not sure how many people have made up their minds already and remain to be persuaded. Voting begins in this country on September 23rd, so it's coming up on us and fast, and that'll be North, South Dakota, and I think Minnesota. The five of us are peculiar people. We're really interested in all the details of this. 30% of Americans can name their 2 senators. A majority of Americans can't name the 3 branches of government. They're not paying that much attention.
Well, I want to pick up on that because that's what we asked you for questions about it. That was the political impact of these new revelations about the emails. And you had a lot of answers. Craig Coldren sent this on Facebook. Does anything matter when her supporters don't care? And I love this one. Bill Smith sent this on Twitter. If you want me to tweet about this, donate to the Bill Foundation, 10% administration fee, and pay my wife to make a speech. Susan, this has been going on, whether it's the private emails, whether it's the Clinton Foundation, at least since March of 2015. And I guess the question is, if a voter hasn't been turned off already, and obviously she has a lead in the polls, are these new revelations going to turn them off and make them change their mind?
I think the election is partly baked, but it's not entirely baked, and there is still some swing in the election. We have a morning consult poll this morning that shows only a 3% lead for Hillary Clinton. That's pretty close. It does reinforce the worst impression that voters have about her, that she always pushes the edge of the envelope. I think there's not any clear evidence so far of something that was criminal. It's not even unusual. It is pretty politically unsavory. And I actually think it reinforces not only questions about honesty and trustworthiness, but the idea that she is a creature of the status quo in a year when Americans are really hungry for change.
And does the fact, I mean, we were talking about this, does the coziness of the relationship, the fact that she met with 85 people, the fact that there are dozens of, the fact that it seems that Doug Band, who is one of the top Clinton Foundation officials and also a personal aide to Bill Clinton, is just back and forth all the time, sending notes to Cheryl Mills and Uma Abedin with various asks.
Pretty cozy, pretty predictable. I mean, these were concerns that were raised at the point she was being confirmed as Secretary of State. And what is, I think, perhaps quite surprising is she didn't do more to address this way in which Washington works. You ask any elected official if they take a call from a big donor or are willing to meet with a big donor, and they'll say yes, but it is entirely, you could entirely have predicted that she would be in this place in this presidential election if she proceeded the way she did.
All right, panel, we have to take a break here, but we'll see you a little later.